The glow of the digital clock read 2:47 a.m. when Luna's eyes snapped open. The golden retriever, trained to respond to dozens of medical emergencies, had never woken in the middle of the night for no reason, but something had pulled her from sleep. Something her instincts couldn't ignore. In the dim light filtering through the curtains of the third-floor apartment, she lifted her head and listened. The building was quiet. Too quiet. And yet, beneath that silence, there was something else. Something wrong. Before we go further, drop your location in the comments. Where are you watching this story unfold? Are you in a big city apartment like Emma? Or somewhere else entirely? Luna rose carefully from her bed beside Emma's wheelchair, her movement fluid and silent. She had learned long ago not to wake her person unless absolutely necessary. Emma Rodriguez needed her sleep. The accident 2 years ago had changed everything for the 28-year-old graphic designer. The drunk driver who ran the red light had taken her ability to walk, but he hadn't taken her spirit. Emma had rebuilt her life with determination and the help of one remarkable dog. Luna padded across the hardwood floor toward the apartment door, her nails making soft clicking sounds. She paused, her ears rotating like satellite dishes, picking up frequencies humans couldn't hear. There it was again. Voices in the hallway. Multiple voices. At 3 in the morning. The building had thin walls, and Luna knew the sound of every resident. The elderly couple in 3B who argued about the thermostat. The college student in 3D who played video games until dawn. The young family in 3A whose baby cried at predictable intervals. These voices belonged to none of them. Emma had moved into Riverside Towers 6 months ago, choosing the downtown Seattle building for its accessibility features and security. The neighborhood was safe, the building well-maintained, and the rent was almost reasonable by Seattle standards. She had been nervous about living alone after the accident, but Luna's presence made everything possible. The service dog could open doors, retrieve dropped items, call for help, and provide balanced support during transfers. More than that, Luna had become Emma's best friend, her constant companion in a world that had suddenly become much more challenging. 3 months ago, Jake Thornton had moved into apartment 3C, directly across the hall. He was 32, tall, with an easy smile, and a seemingly endless supply of helpfulness. The first week, he'd noticed Emma struggling with groceries and immediately offered to carry them. Then he'd fixed her wobbly kitchen table. Then he'd helped install a shelf she couldn't reach. Jake worked from home, he'd explained, doing something vague with digital consulting. He kept odd hours but was always available when Emma needed a hand. Emma had been grateful. Her family lived in California, and making friends in a new city while navigating life in a wheelchair wasn't easy. Jake had seemed like a godsend, a kind neighbor in a world that often felt indifferent to her struggles. But Luna had never liked him. From the first moment Jake had knocked on Emma's door with a plate of cookies, Luna had positioned herself between him and Emma. Her tail didn't wag, her body remained tense. When Jake reached to pet her, Luna had sidestepped smoothly, keeping her attention fixed on Emma. Emma had apologized, explaining that service dogs weren't supposed to be distracted during work. Jake had laughed it off, but Luna had watched him with unwavering focus every time he visited. Dogs, especially highly trained service dogs, don't dislike people without reason. Luna had been trained to read human behavior with precision. She could detect the change in Emma's blood sugar before Emma felt dizzy. She could sense an oncoming anxiety attack minutes before the first symptoms appeared, and she could read body language with an accuracy that put most humans to shame. Jake's body language, no matter how friendly his words, told Luna a different story. The way his eyes scanned the apartment during each visit, the way he positioned himself near the door, the way his friendliness felt calculated rather than genuine. Luna couldn't explain these things to Emma. All she could do was remain alert, protective, and ready. Now, in the dark hallway of the 3rd floor, something Luna had been sensing for weeks was finally revealing itself. She pressed her nose against the gap beneath the apartment door, drawing in scents, cigarette smoke, sweat, something chemical she didn't have words for but her training recognized as wrong, dangerous, and underneath it all the familiar scent that meant Jake. Luna turned and walked back to Emma's bedside. She didn't bark. Service dogs were trained for quiet alerts, especially in apartments where noise could disturb neighbors. Instead, she used her nose to nudge Emma's hand. Once, twice, 3 times. Emma stirred but didn't wake. Luna nudged harder, then placed her paw on the bed. This was the signal for wake up. Something requires your attention. Emma's eyes opened slowly, her mind foggy with sleep. Luna, what is it, girl? She reached for her phone on the nightstand, checking the time. It's not even 3. Do you need to go out? Luna responded with her trained signal for no. She touched her nose to Emma's hand, then walked toward the door, looking back with an intensity that even Emma's sleep-addled brain recognized as urgent. Something was wrong. Emma maneuvered herself into her wheelchair with practiced efficiency. Luna had already positioned herself to provide support if needed, but Emma had become remarkably independent in the 2 years since the accident. She pulled on a sweatshirt against the apartment's nighttime chill and wheeled quietly toward the door. Luna stood at the door, her body rigid, her attention fixed on the hallway beyond. Emma reached for the deadbolt, but Luna stepped forward, blocking her hand. The dog looked up at Emma, then back at the door, then up again. The message was clear. Don't open it. What is it? Emma whispered. What's out there? Luna moved to the peephole, rising up to place her paws gently against the door. Emma understood. She wheeled closer and looked through the small glass lens. The hallway appeared empty at first. Then movement caught her eye. Jake stood near his apartment door, but he wasn't alone. 2 men Emma had never seen before stood with him. One was counting something, cash perhaps, illuminated by the hallway's fluorescent lights. The other held what looked like a large duffel bag. Jake was talking, his voice too low to make out words, but his posture was nothing like the friendly neighbor Emma knew. This Jake looked hard, focused, all business. As Emma watched, Jake unlocked his apartment, and the 3 men disappeared inside. The hallway returned to silence, but Emma's heart was racing. What had she just seen? Was Jake dealing drugs? Was that what Luna had been trying to tell her all these weeks? Luna nudged Emma's hand. 4 quick touches with her nose. A pause. 4 more touches. This wasn't a standard alert pattern Luna had been taught. Emma had noticed Luna doing this occasionally over the past few weeks, usually when Jake was nearby. She hadn't understood what it meant, had even mentioned it to Luna's trainer during a routine check-in. The trainer had suggested Luna might be developing a new behavioral pattern, and to monitor it. Now Emma understood. Luna had been trying to warn her. 4 touches meant danger. 4 touches meant Jake wasn't what he seemed. Emma wheeled backward from the door, her mind racing. She needed to call someone, but who? The police? And tell them what? That her neighbor had visitors at 3 a.m.? That her dog didn't like him? It sounded paranoid, even to her own ears. But Luna's certainty was absolute. The dog had positioned herself between Emma and the door, her body language screaming protection mode. Emma grabbed her phone, her fingers trembling slightly. She pulled up her best friend Sarah's contact, then hesitated. It was 3 a.m. Sarah had 2 young kids and a husband who worked early shifts. Emma couldn't call her over a suspicion. She scrolled through her contacts, feeling isolated and uncertain. Then she heard it, even through the door. Even with Luna standing alert, she heard raised voices, an argument. Jake's voice, unmistakable now, loud and angry. Then a crash, then silence more frightening than the noise had been. Luna turned to Emma and repeated the signal. 4 nose touches. Pause. 4 more. Then she did something Emma had never seen before. Luna walked to the corner of the apartment where Emma kept a small table near the window. The dog used her nose to nudge a framed photograph, the one Emma kept of herself before the accident, standing on a hiking trail with her father. The frame tipped, but didn't fall. Luna nudged it again, more insistently. Luna, what are you doing? Emma wheeled closer, confused. Then she understood. The photograph showed Emma standing, walking, before the wheelchair, before the vulnerability. Luna was telling her something, reminding her that she wasn't helpless, that she had agency, that she could act. Emma picked up her phone again, and this time dialed 911. Her hands were steadier now. When the dispatcher answered, Emma spoke clearly. I need to report suspicious activity in my apartment building. Multiple people entering an apartment at 3 a.m. Possible drug activity. And I just heard what sounded like a violent argument. I'm in apartment 3E at Riverside Towers, 412 Pine Street. The activity is in apartment 3C. The dispatcher asked her to stay in her apartment with the door locked. Police were on their way. Emma agreed. But she didn't hang up. She kept the line open as instructed, the dispatcher's calm voice a tether to safety. Luna remained at the door, still in protection mode. Her training had prepared her for medical emergencies, for public interactions, for countless scenarios. But this was something else. This was pure instinct. The ancient bond between canine and human that predated training by thousands of years. Luna would protect Emma, no matter what. The minutes crawled by. Emma could hear movement in the hallway now. Footsteps. More voices. Then Jake's door opening and closing. More footsteps. Receding toward the stairwell. The elevator. She kept her wheelchair well back from the door. Luna between her and any potential threat. Then new sounds. Different. The heavy footfalls of boots on stairs. The distinctive crackle of police radios. Low, authoritative voices. Luna's ears perked up, and her tail gave a single cautious wag. Emma felt relief flood through her. The knock on her door was firm but not aggressive. Seattle PD. We're looking for Emma Rodriguez. Are you there? Are you safe? Yes, Emma called out. I'm the one who called. I'm opening the door now. She unlocked the deadbolt and opened the door to find two uniformed officers in the hallway. Behind them, she could see more police at Jake's door. Luna immediately moved to Emma's side, her body language shifting from protection to alert assistance mode. Miss Rodriguez? I'm Officer Chen. This is Officer Martinez. You made the 911 call about suspicious activity. The female officer was in her 40s, with kind eyes and a competent manner that immediately put Emma at ease. Yes, my dog woke me up, and when I looked through the peephole, I saw my neighbor Jake with two other men. They had what looked like drugs or money, and then I heard arguing and a crash. Luna, my service dog. She's been trying to warn me about him for weeks, but I didn't understand until tonight. Officer Chen glanced at Luna with respect. Service dogs have saved more lives than most people know. Your dog's a hero, Miss Rodriguez. We're going to need you to stay in your apartment for a bit while we sort this out. Is there anyone you can call to be with you? Emma nodded, already pulling up Sarah's contact again. This time, it was worth the 3 a.m. call. What happened next unfolded like something from a movie. Except Emma experienced it through sounds and brief glimpses. Police radios crackling. More officers arriving. The K9 unit showing up with a German Shepherd who paused to touch noses with Luna through the doorway. A moment of professional courtesy between working dogs that almost made Emma smile despite her nerves. Sarah arrived within 20 minutes, her hair in a messy bun. Her husband Tom following with a thermos of coffee. They sat with Emma, Luna between them. While the police worked, Officer Chen came back twice to update them and ask follow-up questions. The truth, when it emerged, was worse than Emma had imagined. Jake Thornton wasn't his real name. He was Jake Sullivan, wanted in 3 states for drug trafficking. He'd been using the apartment building as a distribution hub, using his work-from-home cover to receive shipments and coordinate sales. The 2 men Emma had seen were part of a larger network the Seattle PD had been investigating for months. Your call tonight might have broken this case wide open, Officer Chen told Emma as dawn started to lighten the hallway. We've been watching Sullivan, but we didn't know where he was operating from. Your tip gave us probable cause to move in. We've arrested 5 people tonight, and we've seized enough fentanyl to charge them federally. Emma felt numb. Jake had been in her home multiple times, had brought her food, had fixed her furniture, had smiled that easy smile while running drugs across the hallway. And Luna had known. Luna had tried to tell her. Officer Chen crouched down to Luna's level. May I? She asked Emma. When Emma nodded, the officer gently scratched behind Luna's ears. Good girl. Very good girl. You protected your person. Luna's tail wagged, but she didn't leave Emma's side. Protection mode was still engaged until Emma gave the all-clear signal. The sun was fully up by the time the police finished their initial investigation. Jake and his associates had been taken away in handcuffs. Crime scene technicians were still processing his apartment. The building manager had arrived, apologetic and shocked, promising to review their tenant screening procedures. Emma sat in her living room with Sarah, Tom having returned home to get the kids ready for school. Luna had finally relaxed, lying with her head on Emma's lap. The apartment felt different now. Safer, in a way, knowing the threat was gone, but also more fragile. The illusion of security shattered. I should have listened to her, Emma said quietly, stroking Luna's golden fur. She was telling me something was wrong. I just didn't understand. Sarah squeezed her friend's hand. You did listen. When it mattered, you trusted her. That's what counts. Officer Chen returned one more time before her shift ended. I wanted to give you this before I left. She held out a business card for a victim advocate and another for a therapist who specialized in trauma. What you experienced tonight, even though you were safe in your apartment, it's normal to have reactions. Don't ignore them. And Miss Rodriguez, you did everything right. You kept yourself safe. You called for help, and you trusted your dog. That's exactly what should happen. After everyone left, Emma sat in the quiet of her apartment. Luna had finally fallen asleep, exhausted from her vigil. Emma looked at the photograph Luna had nudged, the one showing her standing on that hiking trail. She thought about the person she'd been before the accident, confident and independent. She thought about the person she'd become after, learning to navigate a world that wasn't built for wheelchairs. And she thought about Luna, who had been with her through all of it, who had learned not just the tasks and commands of a service dog, but who had bonded with Emma on a level deeper than training, who had sensed danger and protected her person the way dogs had been protecting humans for thousands of years. Emma picked up her phone and typed an email to Luna's training organization. She detailed what had happened, how Luna had developed her own warning signal, how the dog's instincts had quite possibly saved Emma's life. She wanted them to know, wanted other service dog handlers to know that their dogs were more than medical devices, more than trained assistants. They were partners, protectors, and sometimes heroes. The weeks that followed brought changes. The building added security cameras. New tenants moved into 3C, a retired teacher who baked cookies, and actually meant it kindly. Emma gave her statement to federal prosecutors. Jake Sullivan, whose real criminal history was extensive, faced charges that would keep him in prison for years. But Emma also noticed something else. She was less afraid. The accident had made her vulnerable in ways she was still learning to accept. Jake's betrayal could have made her paranoid, afraid to trust. Instead, it had shown her something important. She had good instincts. She had good friends. And she had Luna. One evening about a month later, Emma was working at her computer when Luna rose from her bed and walked to the window. The golden retriever looked out at the Seattle skyline, the city lights beginning to twinkle as dusk fell. Then Luna turned back to Emma and wagged her tail, the simple gesture that meant all is well. Emma smiled. You're right, girl. We're okay. And they were. The fear hadn't disappeared entirely. Emma still checked her peephole carefully before opening the door. She still felt a flutter of anxiety when she heard unexpected sounds in the hallway. But she was healing. And Luna was there for every step. Officer Chen stopped by one afternoon with her K9 partner, the German shepherd named Max, who had briefly greeted Luna that chaotic night. We wanted to properly introduce our dogs, she said. Max has been asking about his colleague. Emma laughed, watching Luna and Max sniff each other formally before breaking into a play bow. Even on duty, even with their serious work, dogs understood joy. I've been thinking about Luna's signal, Officer Chen said as they watched the dogs interact. Those 4 touches she kept giving you. I talked to our K9 trainers about it. They said it's not uncommon for service dogs to develop their own communication systems with their handlers. Luna was telling you 4 because Jake was in apartment 3C, and 4 represented danger. The 4th signal in her vocabulary, after the standard 3 she was trained for. She created her own warning code. Emma felt tears prick her eyes. She's smarter than I am. She's a dog who loves you. Officer Chen corrected gently. That's different than smart. That's loyalty. That's instinct. That's the bond that makes what we do possible. She gestured to Max. I trust this dog with my life, every shift. And he's never let me down. Neither has Luna let you down. When Officer Chen and Max left, Emma sat with Luna and thought about what the officer had said. Trust, loyalty, bond. These weren't just words. They were the foundation of everything that had happened. Luna had trusted Emma to understand eventually. Emma had learned to trust Luna's instincts. Together, they had navigated a dangerous situation and come out stronger. Emma opened her laptop and started a blog post. She'd been documenting her life with Luna since the beginning, sharing the challenges and victories of life with a service dog. Now she had a different story to tell. She titled it When Your Service Dog Saves Your Life, and began to type. The post went viral within days. Emma received hundreds of messages from other service dog handlers, many sharing their own stories of times their dogs had protected them in ways that went beyond training. Others wrote to thank Emma for highlighting the incredible capabilities of working dogs. Several law enforcement K-9 units reached out, wanting to feature Luna's story in their training materials. But the message Emma valued most came from a woman in Ohio whose daughter was about to receive her first service dog. Your story gave my daughter confidence, the woman wrote. She's nervous about relying on a dog, about being vulnerable, but you showed her that service dogs are partners, not just tools. Thank you. Emma printed that message and put it on her fridge, where she could see it every day. It reminded her why sharing the story mattered, not for fame or attention, but to help others understand what she had learned. Sometimes the most important person in your life has 4 legs and a tail. 6 months after that night, Emma received notification that Jake Sullivan had been sentenced to 15 years in federal prison. The prosecutor's office thanked her for her cooperation and let her know that her testimony had been crucial. Emma felt closure, but more than that, she felt pride. She had been part of something bigger than herself, had helped bring down a dangerous criminal operation. That evening, she took Luna to the park by the waterfront, the one with accessible paths and a section where dogs could play off-leash. Emma had been working with a physical therapist and had regained some ability to stand with support. Now, holding onto the wheelchair for balance, she stood and threw a ball for Luna. The golden retriever bounded after it with pure joy, no longer in service dog mode but simply being a dog. When Luna returned, Emma sat back in her wheelchair and held the ball aloft. Good girl. My good girl. Luna dropped the ball and placed her head on Emma's lap, golden eyes looking up with absolute devotion. And Emma understood, perhaps for the first time fully, what she'd been given. Not just assistance, not just medical support, but partnership, friendship, unconditional love, from a creature who asked for nothing but the chance to serve, to protect, to be there. The Seattle skyline glowed in the sunset, the city alive with millions of stories unfolding, in every building, every street, every life. This was just one story, one woman and one dog, navigating a challenging world together. But it was their story, built on trust and tested by danger and proven true. As they headed home, Emma noticed people glancing at Luna with new appreciation. Word had spread in the neighborhood about the hero service dog. Children asked to pet her, and with Emma's permission and Luna's acceptance, they did, learning that service dogs were working animals but also living beings deserving of respect and gentle treatment. Back in the apartment, safe and sound, Emma went through their evening routine. Dinner for both of them, Luna's medications, supplements for joints that worked hard every day, Emma's own medications and exercises. Then they settled on the couch together, Emma with a book, Luna with her head resting on Emma's lap. Thank you, Emma whispered, stroking Luna's soft fur. For everything. for warning me, for protecting me, for being you. Luna's tail thumped twice against the couch cushion. In the language between them, it meant you're welcome and I love you and always all at once. The story could end there, with peace restored and lessons learned. But life doesn't end in neat chapters. It continues, moment by moment, day by day. Emma and Luna's story continues too. Every morning when Luna helps Emma transfer from bed to wheelchair, every afternoon when Luna retrieves dropped items or opens doors, every night when Luna settles beside Emma's bed. Ever watchful, ever faithful. And if you're watching this story from wherever you are in the world, know this: the bond between humans and dogs is ancient and powerful and real. Service dogs are trained to remarkable standards, yes, but beyond the training, beyond the tasks, there's something else, something that can't be taught but only experienced. The knowledge that you are not alone, that someone is watching over you. That loyalty exists in its purest form. Luna didn't need to understand why Jake was dangerous. She only needed to sense it and respond. She didn't need to know about drug trafficking or federal investigations. She only needed to know that Emma was in potential danger and required protection. That's the essence of what makes working dogs so extraordinary. They act not from understanding but from instinct, from training, and most importantly, from love. So the next time you see a service dog in public, remember this story. Remember that beneath the vest and the training and the focused demeanor is a being capable of heroism. Give them space to work, respect their purpose, and appreciate the incredible partnership between handler and dog that makes everything possible. Emma Rodriguez and Luna still live in apartment 3E at Riverside Towers. The building is quiet again, safe again. But Emma no longer takes that safety for granted. She checks her surroundings. She trusts her instincts. And, most importantly, she trusts Luna. Because on a dark night at 2:47 a.m., when danger lurked just across the hall, Luna was awake. Luna was alert. Luna was ready. And that made all the difference. Drop your location in the comments one more time and tell us, do you have a dog who's ever protected you? A pet who sensed danger before you did? The stories are out there. Countless moments when animals prove their value beyond what we can measure or train. This was just one story, but it represents thousands more, unfolding every day in cities and towns across America and around the world. To every service dog working right now, to every canine officer on patrol, to every therapy dog bringing comfort, and to every family pet who watches over their humans with unmatched devotion, this story is for you. And as the lights dimmed in apartment 3E that night, Emma safe and Luna ever vigilant, the city continued its endless rhythm. Life went on, as it always does. But two beings slept more peacefully knowing they had each other. In a world that can be uncertain and sometimes dangerous, that's more than enough. That's everything.